Today we saw another 8 full-packed Champions League matches, and on this video we'll go about over everything that you need to know so you do not miss out. We start off this repasito with obviously one of the biggest shocks of the night. Olympique de Lyon managed to beat Manchester City 2-1 on the night at the Etihad Stadium, obviously through some terrible defending that Manchester City occurred. First of all, it was Delph, then it was Fernandinho, and it cost them very hard. They never were able to get back into the game. They had to bring on Sergio Agüero. Obviously, the first goal coming in from a horrendous clearance from Fabian Delph. It wasn't even a clearance. You cannot even call that because he didn't even manage to touch the ball. It was Maxwell Cornet, one of the best players for Lyon on the night, running up the field non-stop, who scored the goal to give Lyon the early lead. And just 12 minutes after, Nabil Fekir grabbing a second for Lyon on the night, Manchester City could only manage one goal through Bernardo Silva, the Portuguese. I gotta be saying that Leroy Sané had absolutely everything to do for that goal. Leroy Sané, for me, one of the best players in Manchester City, and I do not understand why he starts so late in the game. He needs to be playing every single match for them, because if City want to do something this season, Leroy Sané will certainly need to be part of that team. But can we blame Guardiola? Not really. It was really due to individual mistakes that cost City this result at home, which is surely going to completely shake things up in Group F, becoming one of the ones to watch for the further match days. Within that same group, earlier in the day, we saw a very tactical match between Shakhtar Donetsk and Hoffenheim. Obviously, Hoffenheim debuting for the first time ever in the Champions League, and to be honest, they put up very good performance. I think that Nagelsmann absolutely read the game well. He did it with great fashion, and Shakhtar Donetsk certainly, I think, could have done a little bit more at home. Shakhtar Donetsk is a team that needs to take into account that they may not be as powerful as they are from outside their own stadium. So this game was one to win for them, and Hoffenheim, to be honest, did a very good job to try and stomp it that. For most of the game, Hoffenheim was actually winning, and it took at the end Maicon in the 81st minute to try and get the goal to give Shakhtar the final draw. It's games like this where Hoffenheim can certainly get some few points here and there if they manage to put on a very similar performance also at home, then at Lyon, and even perhaps at the Etihad, knowing now that Manchester City are certainly a beatable team. I gotta be honest to you and say that Hoffenheim could be one of the underdogs to come out of this group. I still believe that Lyon and Manchester City could be those teams that are a little bit more favored to come out, but if Hoffenheim plans the games well, if Nagelsmann read the games well, I feel they can surprise. So with that being said, this is how Group F lines up. We got Lyon first, obviously with 3 points, then Hoffenheim with 1, drawing up with Shakhtar also in 1, and then Manchester City being at ground bottom in 0 points. Who knows what might happen? Can they get back from this? Their next game is going to be against Shakhtar Donetsk away. So it's going to be certainly a very big task for them if they want to get something in the next fixture. And yes, I know I jumped directly into Group F, but now we move backwards. We take one step back and we go onwards to Group E. And in Group E, first of all, we saw a Bayern Munich that seems very confident, which took a Benfica side that had to prove something in the Champions League after finally last season coming out bottomless in a group that contained both Basel and CSK Moscow. So certainly something that they will want to rewrite. It's something that they want to prove, but unfortunately they're going to have to wait a little bit more. Bayern Munich got a 2-0 win over the Portuguese by obviously Robert Lewandowski, who is such class as we all know he is. And then Renato Sanchez coming back to his old club, which actually managed to start off the game and scored an also very good goal in the 54th minute to just seal the deal. It's impressive that actually he managed to start a game of this magnitude, but if he continued to play like he did today, I think that he certainly has something to prove in this Bayern Munich side. It seems that Niko Kovac actually prefers him over some decent players, perhaps even someone over like Thiago. So let's see where Renato Sanchez can go in the future, because certainly this is a guy that I want to see a little bit more, but he just had some few bad spells, obviously at Swansea City, that, come on, they need to be forgotten. In that same group, we saw a very good performance from Ajax. And if you follow my channel, we all know that Barcelona were looking into some of the Ajax players like Donny van de Beek as well as Frankie de Jong. And to be honest, I feel there's one more player Barcelona should be looking into. One player that's certainly going to be a very good left back, perhaps not in like the near future, but certainly a player that can give us something right now, and that is Nicolas Tagliafico. Nicolas Tagliafico had one of the best performances I've seen in a Champions League like entire game altogether. He scored 2 goals and had other 2 shots, being a left back. We're talking about an Argentinian player who had only been playing in the Eredivisie under Ajax for like 6 months, and certainly making his Champions League debut, scoring 2 goals for a left back. Can I repeat, a left back? It's a very good achievement. AEK Athens were never a real threat. They only managed 4 shots and none of them on target, while Ajax had 16 and 6 of them was also on goal. They had 67 possession, they had 585 passes to 298. And to be honest, I feel this Ajax side will be the second team to come out of them. I think between Ajax and Benfica right now, Ajax had the better team and they're just a much better like unit, and you understand what I mean. With all of that being said, we wrap up Group B with Ajax in first with 3 points, obviously because of the goal difference, because they scored 3 goals, 1 more than Bayern Munich, which is in second, also with 3 points. Then we have Benfica with 0 points, EK Athens last with 0 points, and once again, this is being differentiated by the goal difference. In Group G, we have our mighty rivals, Real Madrid. And to be honest, Real Madrid did have a decent game. Mariano, Asensio, Gareth Bale, Benzema all seem to have just actually blossomed without Cristiano Ronaldo on the side. And perhaps somebody told them at halftime that Cristiano Ronaldo got sent off and they knew like it was their moment to shine, because they actually had a very good performance against Roma. And we might see how this Real Madrid side can follow through in the Champions League. Perhaps they may not be like obviously as deadly as before, but they have a new formula, they have a new formation, they have a new tactic and strategy that they have to put in place. Could be a little bit easier to just say that this Real Madrid side looks like a completely different team. Yes, it is, and I agree with that. I feel that this Real Madrid team doesn't have the same like clinical and pragmatic football that they had before that helped them win 3 Champions League straight, but certainly it can still be a very dangerous team, so we might not take them lightly. And for Barcelona, for Manchester City, for Juventus, for any team that wants to win the Champions League this season, it's certainly going to be a team that can also damage us whenever times be. In this case, I feel Roma suffer from a little bit of inexperience. They had Nicolo Zaniolo making their Champions League debut at 90 years old, being the main engine and playmaker in the midfield. That just seems for me a little bit over the top. I would actually start somebody like Lorenzo Pellegrini, who was actually there before. Dio Perotti as well, something else, not giving all the pressure of a playmaker to Nicolo Zaniolo. Just doesn't make like anything sense. You also have like other debutants like Robin Olsen, who's obviously having a match like Real Madrid is going to be very, very terrifying. But I just feel this team, the team that Eusebio Di Francesco put out, was just not coherent enough. You had not enough pace in the midfield with Daniele De Rossi and Steven Nsonsi for a start. And then they really settled for a clear game plan. Roma didn't know exactly whether they were going to counterattack, whether they were going to go forward. They didn't have the personality in that team like a Raja Nainggolan. They didn't have like a Kevin Strootman. They didn't have someone as simple as, for instance, a Totti to help set the tempo of what they were going to do. But to be honest, this isn't just like a huge upset or anything. I think Roma were knowing coming to the Bernabeu that they will most likely get beat, and they will be hoping to take Real Madrid back to the Olympic Stadium to try and fight for that first spot, because obviously Roma has more than enough to beat CSK Moscow and also Victoria Pilsen, but I feel that they just wasted a chance here. Talking about wasting chances, Victoria Pilsen could have got a great result against CSK Moscow, because to be honest, if any of those two teams are going to come out, they will need to try and get points out of them each other. And Victoria Pilsen just wasted a huge chance in the Czech Republic in their own stadium to try and get 3 points away from CSK Moscow, and they had to give a penalty in the 95th minute for CSK to score back and get into the game to get 1 point. That is not good enough. The Champions League is all about not making enough mistakes. And I just gotta say that Victoria Pilsen here lost a huge chance. So with that, we close up Group G, and we had Real Madrid with 3 points, CSK Moscow with 1, Victoria Pilsen also with 1, and then Roma, sadly, at the end with 0. And now we move onwards to the group where I wanted to talk the most about, and that is Group H. In Group H, we have Manchester United beating Young Boys in Switzerland 3-0, which to be honest seemed like a completely different Manchester United. One way or another managed to put on a very good performance in Switzerland, beating, like I said, Young Boys 3-0. Pogba was absolutely superb. He had a very, very good game, showed complete leadership of this Manchester United side and why he was brought in. I don't want to hear more rumors of Barcelona or Juventus. If Pogba can play as good at Manchester United, then just leave him there. He needs to have that leadership. He needs to have that thought that he's one of the most important players in that side. We saw how crucial he was for France in the World Cup, and let's see if he can start replicating that for Manchester United in the Champions League. However, there's still one thing that worries me a lot about this Manchester United side, and that's how much they allowed Young Boys to attack them. Young Boys had 18 shots. They had 2 more than United in the game. That's not a good thing. I always think that Mourinho's tactics are a little bit outdated, and at this time, in this day and age, where any team can beat any team, like we saw Sevilla beating Manchester United in last season, can certainly create some kind of like controversial polemics in the future. I feel that United, if they don't like attack more, if they don't really feel that they're like the team that they were before, like a complete world power like Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, they're never gonna really get there. They need to start moving and shifting away from that counter-attack, like attack, score a goal, then come back and park the bus. No, that's not the way to do it. So Manchester United, I feel you need to start changing up a bit. And now we get into Juventus versus Valencia, or well, Valencia versus Juventus at the Estadio de Mestalla. I love that stadium. I've gone there, and it's one of the best stadiums I've ever been. I love Valencia, the city as well. And I gotta say that this game was kind of like underwhelming. First of all, Ronaldo gets sent off. 29th minute, Juventus loses one player. Again, Douglas Costa, not this time. Cristiano Ronaldo gets a red card. To be honest, it's a little bit controversial. I agree. He didn't push Murillo at all. It seemed like he pulled his hairs or whatever, but just from every single highlight, you could see Murillo was the guy who just stepped between Ronaldo and the box. The fault was on Jason Murillo, not on Cristiano Ronaldo. And I may be a Barcelona fan or whatever, but you don't have to be biased to just see that it was Murillo the one who created the on foul. So I don't know what happened with the referee there. I do not understand, but to be honest, Cristiano Ronaldo shouldn't have been sent off. And at that moment, I was like, this is a very big chance for Valencia to come back, to score and beat Juventus and just blow this group like wide open. And they didn't take the chance at all. They just made so many mistakes, like in the transition between attack and defense, where Juventus got so many like shots in that they shouldn't have, because they just lost their freaking striker in Cristiano Ronaldo. Can you imagine the motivation that can bring you, like how low it can take you? And they just didn't take the chances. Valencia made so many mistakes. Parejo for the penalty for the first one. It's just like, what in the world are you thinking? You're an experienced player. I always respect you. I always feel that you're one of the best center midfielders in La Liga, that you don't get enough respect. But today, I can't defend you. What in the world was that? And then for the second one, don't even talk about that. So to be honest, Pjanic walks out at the start of the hero, scoring 2 goals for Juventus, and that's a very good result for them. But Valencia, what a wasted chance. And with that, we have finally Group H with Manchester United in top with 3 points, 3 goal difference, Juventus with 2, Valencia with 0, and Young Boys with 0. Next match is going to be Valencia versus Manchester United. And if Valencia want to do something, they're going to have to go there and try to beat United. Let's see if it happens. And to be honest, with the ways Valencia are going right now in the Champions League, I really don't see that. But best of luck. Now, guys, it's your time to leave your thoughts in the comment box down below. Do you like these European roundups? I like to call them European rondo, because roundup is just like so freaking overused. So tell me, what do you think about this? Leave me all of that in the comment box down below. Any feedback, anything, I'm open. And also remember to drop us a like, leave us a subscribe, turn on the bell notification icon, and follow us on all other social media to keep up to date. We'll be uploading more Barcelona videos throughout this week. And if you don't know already, I'm a Barcelona fan. Yes, this is a mainly Barcelona channel, but I want to start covering other stuff because I have a lot of free time. I only have like classes on Tuesday and Friday. So for the first few weeks, you know, you get starting, you like start rocking the boat, you start off the engine, but there isn't really like too much work. So I may get into a lot more stuff. But just like always, see you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.